I hope everyone enjoyed the break, was able to get a cup of coffee, use the restroom, fix a breakfast sandwich. As we get back into our agenda, I'm going to ask if Kathy Swab's still on the line. If Kathy Swab of Chapter 1127 still with us.
Yep, and I've just given her permission to speak.
Yes, I'm here.
How you doing?
I'm good.
I appointed you acting president of Chapter 1127 Rockville. I am going to swear you in. I think you're the only one that needs to be sworn in because I don't think some of the chapters have had their election yet. So you can hold I do until I finish reading the installation of officers statement, and then you just can respond by I do. Is that all right with you, Kathy?
Well, Gary, we still have the problem with this chapter. There is no activity with this chapter. I mean, it's basically disbanded since Jennifer resigned.
Since Jennifer resigned?
Yes.
The current treasurer.
There's nobody in the chapter.
All right.
I mean, I could, as a placeholder, sure, but there is no activity in this chapter. There's no members that want to be. I only know about 5 people in the chapter. So so it's basically the treasurer is very old, and nobody wants to be in any positions, and nobody would come to luncheons, and I really think this chapter should merge with another chapter.
All right. Then we will hold off on that, and we'll talk about that a little later after the meeting.
Okay, thank you.
All right. And so with that in mind or whatever, I would be talking with Kathy Swab after the meeting here today on what can we do on the survival of the chapter 1127 or seek a merger with another chapter. I've done a welcome already, a welcome everybody. I'm going to move to a couple brief announcements. As many of you know that I ran for the national office for Region 2 Vice President. I ran unopposed, and I was elected on August the 31st when the elections were certified or completed. I will not be installed until January the 1st instead of November the 1st because the national bylaws were amended this year, starting in June to August, where they changed the date of the incoming newly elected RVPs to the NEB board to assume office on January the 1st. It has been a pleasure working with everyone because we don't have another board meeting until February 2021, and we have canceled our regular October around the 30th or 31st training day due to the pandemic and trying to keep everyone safe during this COVID-19 by following the CDC guidelines of social distancing and not exposing our members to the virus that can be transmitted in the air. But it has been a wonderful pleasure serving you, working with everyone from my staffs, Dr. Suda Haley, Ed Reed, Dan McGrath, Pat Farmer, Stu Salon, Larry Walton, Ed Holland, the chairs, Paul Swartz, Sir Richards. I could just name a whole list of y'all. Bruce Fowler, Dr. Bruce Fowler. And then it's just, I'm grateful. to have had the pleasure to be your Maryland Federation president. And I hope that the work that we are doing will continue on under the leadership of Dr. Suda Haley, who is our first vice president, and based on the Maryland Federation bylaws, who will move up to assume the office of the president of the Maryland Federation on January the 1st. I'm not going to go into national updates. I will leave that to our current RVP, Kathy Adams. I will leave the update on the membership incentive up to our second vice president, Ed Reed, who gives their report. I do know one thing, that the Region 2 training has been rescheduled till next year of 2020 in March. If I need to change it to a virtual training day, I will give the president, Dr. Suda Haley, at that current time, an update on whether we will be meeting in person or by virtual. And with that, that concludes my announcements. And so, are there any questions on my announcements?
Let's see. Bridget Mulliken has her hand raised. Bridget?
Brigida, I was just
sorry.
curious. That's okay. This is all new for me. I've never attended one of these NARFE national meetings, but I am part of the Rockville chapter, and Kathy is, I guess, the only one kind of on this Zoom meeting, and I'm very curious to what's going to happen to our chapter. I'm assuming that we're going to merge with somebody, but I have also offered to be the treasurer, but the problem is we have no leadership applicants. So I'm just staying online to find out what you all are going to help us with, I guess, with Rockville chapter, but you're saying that's going to come after the meeting, so that's fine. I just want to let you know I'm here.
All right. Can you pass on your contact information? Can you stay on
Sure.
a few minutes after the meeting with Kathy Swab? Pat Farmer stay on, and Larry Walton stay on to after this meeting, and we'll get right to that.
I have just one problem with this. I have another Zoom meeting from 1 to 3, so I'm not sure when your meeting's going to end, but I can put it in the chat, my
right.
information.
Thank you so much. I do appreciate it, Bridget.
Brigida.
Yeah.
Brigida.
No problem.
And one of the things, Gary, that I might recommend to the different members that are in the audience, using chat is this is a great opportunity for you guys to connect regionally. So one of the things, it sounds to me like there might be more people out in the Rockville area than you guys realize, and you can come together and communicate at this meeting in chat. So give that a shot. And let's see. I've got a couple of questions that have been typed in, Gary, that I'll read to you. P.A. Jeffries says, members of the Equity Committee were selected based on members who were known by Ed Holland. That goes against the very reason that the committee was established. Who you are, the committee is therefore in my mind. Starting off, and yeah, I mean, this PA, this sounds like a good committee question in terms of how the Equity Committee is selected. Probably better addressed as an offline conversation. Jacinta says, if we are interested in serving, what is the process? So I guess
I will address that after the meeting.
Okay. All right. Okay. So those are two questions that came in that we'll address after the meeting. I'll make sure you get.
I have not called up the Equity Committee report yet, and that question should be held for when I brings up the Equity report, and then questions or any questions are asked to our members.
Okay. All right.
But if there's questions on my announcements, I will take them now.
Okay. All right. Doesn't look like we got any hands raised or any questions specifically related. Oh, let's see. Jacinta says approximately what time would, so you want to, in terms of,
I will email them on a time that we can get together on a conference call after the meeting. It might, if it ain't today, it could be tomorrow sometime.
okay. All right, so we'll follow up, but I would say one thing that we could do is sort of at the end of this meeting, I won't close the meeting, and perhaps it could be used to sort of for folks to talk about open issues on the meeting for a few minutes.
Would appreciate that.
Okay. All right. Oh, let's see. Ray Oman has his hand raised. Ray? Ray, if you unmute yourself, you should be able to talk.
All right, I just wanted to say that I felt that our speaker, Eric Hirschhorn, former Undersecretary at the Department of Commerce, was an excellent speaker. I did work for Commerce for a time, and I thought I really appreciated his insight and knowledge of commerce and of the federal government. So I felt that way very strongly. So anyway, thank you so much for a great speaker.
Thank you. All right, with no more questions on announcements, I will now bring up Ed Holland, Chairman of the Equity Committee, to give his report.
Thank you, Dr. Gary. So yesterday there was a ESCOM meeting, and I'll say straight off the bat during the ESCOM meeting, I was very thankful. It was 16 persons attending the meeting, and by 16-0 vote, those members voted that the Equity Committee should be a standing committee, basically a permanent committee of NARFE Maryland Federations. So thank you, members, for voting that way. This all started under Larry Walton. Larry approached me sometime in May. So I let him talk to you offline, but something went down at his church. Nothing bad, but I guess Larry called me at his church where they had a meeting or something along that line, worried about diversity and things that's going on in the nation. I asked Larry why he called me. I guess I'll let that joke slide, but I guess I'm his only black friend, so there you go. So anyhow, so Larry talked to me. Well, I didn't talk to Dr. Gary, and that's when we started. We huddled with Dr. Suda, mentioning a diversity committee. We met now to P.H. Jeffrey's question, and I thought I had answered it. When Dr. Gary told me to move forward, we went back and forth on different numbers. I wanted like 9 or 11. Dr. Gary said it was too large. He was the one who decided to knock it down to 7. Okay. From there, then I wanted to make sure we were regionally balanced. So you may notice some folks. So the members are myself, Larry Walton, Barbara Cuffey, Larry Lane, Frank Lee, Boyd Laughlin, and Sam Rames. That shows diversity in the regular sense of the word, and also regional diversity. So I took that in consideration when reaching out to you folks to make sure that we were regionally diverse as usual. In addition, I also reached out to Melinda Scott, Charles Harrison, and Sarah Richardson. Once again, the whole diversity thing regionally and what the word means. Those 3 persons declined because of their large workload, and I totally understood that. But once again, the committee has been approved, so I want to thank the committee members. Hopefully, your president for the agenda that we came up with in the minutes. If not, please send me an email. I'll be happy to forward it to you. I mean, everything's total transparency. Real quick, we're not looking for a mission, so the equity committee. Here are the 5 motions we made, and 2 of them failed. The equity committee will serve as a fact-finding body as it pertains to complaints such as sexual harassment, racial slurs, etc. That motion passed. The equity committee will report directly to the NARFE Maryland Federation president. That motion passed. The Executive Committee will strive to work with chapters to increase minority recruitment and participation in chapter functions. That actually was a suggestion from Sarah Richards. So thank you, Sarah. That motion failed. The Executive Committee will become a permanent committee to meet on an as-needed basis. A meeting called by the chair or the direction of the Federation president. That motion passed. The Executive Committee recommends that North Maryland Federation President Dr. Gary Roundtree work with the RVP Region 2 President Kathy Adams to assist at North National make a statement addressing what is occurring in the nation as far as civil rights concerns. I actually got that from Pat Farmer, so thank you, Pat. That motion failed. So with that, the committee, I talk fast, I move fast. So we did a lot of work in under an hour. So we were in and out done in about 55 minutes. And that, sir, is the end of my report. Thank you.
Any questions on the report?
Let's see. I got PA Jeffries raising their hand, but we've had some audio issues with PA Jeffries, so I'm not sure if I can. Here, okay, so PA, if you want to try speaking, but I know we've had some difficulties with that. I've asked you to unmute there. Yeah, we tried that a few times. So PA, if you want to try saying something, your mic is open. I just don't think your audio works. So I would suggest.
Could you write it in the chat?
No, that's what I was going to say. Just PA, you've been doing a good job of typing in questions and comments. If you can type them in there, and then also what I would recommend is adding a point of, provide a point of contact, the best way for committee members to get in touch with you, so that if we can't answer your question, that it could be answered after.
Well, let me try to clarify something. To all of our members that are listening in, participating by phone. Article 11 committees. Established an appointment. The president shall appoint the following standing committees upon assuming office, subject to approval of the board. Chairpersons of these committees shall be selected from members of the board unless it's an exception is approved by the board. A chairperson of a standing committee shall serve from the date that the appointment has been approved by the board and continue until the successor has been approved by the board. The Executive Committee was approved back in February when I selected the committee, chose the chairman of the committee, and asked each one that was listed to submit an email to me confirming that they would accept serving on the committee. The president chose the members that are on the committee, and I chose the chairman of the committee. Ed Holland did not choose the members of the committee because they had to be approved by me as to whether they would serve on that committee. So the chairman does not choose who serves on the committee. I received back emails from all of them accepting their appointment to the committee by me. Then we brought it before the full board for a vote for the committee. And there will be a vote today on whether we want to make the Equity Committee a permanent committee along the guidelines of the Resolution Committee, the Federal Legislation Committee, the State Legislative Committee, and the Membership Committee, and the Public and Relations Committee. This is being brought from the in front of the full board. This has been transparent from the beginning of this process. Guidelines have been adopted and followed right down to the T. So if you have a question, you can call me, email me. I'll be more than glad to answer any of your questions. And with that in mind, Are there any questions on the report of that first meeting that the Equity Committee had?
I don't see anything coming in.
All right. Can we, Steve, move to a vote
Yes,
for the
and
board? The board is chapter presidents and the elected officers of the executive committee and a past presidents.
okay, so I'm gonna put a poll up on a vote up on the screen. But Gary, before I do that, I just the question is, do you approve the equity committee as a standing committee? Yes or no? But this is only for board. This is not for everybody to vote on, just board members.
The full board is made up of the executive committee and 26 chapter presidents.
Okay, all right. So just, we're taking you on the honor system, folks. If you're not on one of those committees, then do not vote, please. But everybody should be able to see this on the screen and be able to vote. And what would you say, Gary, that the total number of oh, okay, all right. So here we can share those results with everybody. Okay. All right. Okay.
All right.
Steve, this is Pat Farmer.
Yeah.
There should be about 33 people voting.
Okay. Here. Well, I didn't. Somebody else clicked a button here on the panelist thing. Do you want? We had 13 total votes. Do you want me to relaunch this and do it again?
Yes. Yes.
Okay, so I'm going to relaunch this, and then just for the other panel members, just don't click on the okay, so if all the executive committee could re-vote, and our goal is approximately how many members, Pat?
Well, 33 is the list that I have with the executive committee and the chapter presidents, but not all of them are on.
Okay, well, we'll let this run for a bit. We'll try to get more than 13, that's for sure. We can just kind of leave this running in the background too. Okay. All right. Did anybody on the polling seems to just close at 13. And I'm not sure why.
Yeah, Steve, that's the same results we had before.
Yeah.
Do you want me to call the names?
Yeah, call the names, Pat.
Yeah, guys, I'm sorry to say, I can't even vote. I'm locked up or something.
No. So what?
Can't vote anyway.
Yeah, no, what's happening is when I launch it, there's 71 people on this on this that should be able to vote. But what happened both times was that when we got to 13 people voting, it just automatically sort of closed. So let's try it one last time here. And if it stops at 13, then what we can do is we can
Call the roll.
we could do it as a roll call. Let's see. We're at 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. All right. It seems to be working. So everybody on that executive committee, keep on voting. Yeah,
It's the executive committee plus the chapter presidents.
yeah. So
It's
all
working.
executive committee, chapter presidents, please vote. This is the official vote that we're participating in here.
It's not the committee chairs.
Okay.
I apologize, guys. I don't want to talk. This is Ed Holland. I'm a chapter president. I still can't vote. It just shows in polling. That's all I see.
Oh,
I'm very familiar with Zoom. I've voted with Zoom before. It's not allowed.
okay, wait. Okay, here, this is why I made Ed here. I'm gonna make you a I'm taking you and Larry. Okay, so Ed, I just took you off of the of being a co-host.
Yes, I can vote now. Thank you.
Okay, and does anybody else, Gary, Larry Walton, or Pat Farmer, do you guys need to vote?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, so I'm gonna make all of you guys, I'm taking all of you guys off the co-hosting. Okay, and now you should be able to vote.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. This is what I talked about at the beginning of the meeting, where there'll be a few hiccups throughout the day, but we will get through them. Okay, so at this point, we've got 21 people voting. I'm assuming that is a majority that you would need.
Yes.
Okay.
That's correct,
So
Steve.
would you like me to end the polling?
No, I want every member to vote that's entitled to vote.
Okay, all right. Okay, we'll, yeah, we've got 23 now, so.
Gary, you have a question from PA Jeffries. If you want Ed Holland, or you're going to handle it?
I'll handle it.
Okay, yeah, PA Jeffries, you typed a question in the chat that will be addressed. Okay, all right. Let's see. And while we're doing this, Sam Stern has a question, so I'm bringing Sam on. Sam?
Yeah, Sam Raines is the parliamentarian.
No, Sam
No,
Stern,
Sam Stern.
Oh.
He's from,
Sam Stern, oh.
1734.
Yeah,
Mhm.
Sam Stern. If you unmute yourself, you can ask your question.
I'm an acting president. Does that count to vote?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. So now
All right. It looks like, Gary, we've been at 23 for quite some time, so should we say last call to vote, and we'll give folks 20 seconds to vote. That will be a full 5 minutes that was made available to vote. Oh, wait.
Yes.
We've got somebody's, oh, Sam's got his hand raised again. Sam?
just waiting for the polling. I don't see it anymore on my screen. I can't vote.
You may have already voted then.
No, I did not.
Okay. Well, can I ask, would you be open to sort of saying whether you approve or disapprove of this?
Yes, I approve.
Okay, all right. We'll add that to the record.
Thank
Okay, and with that, we kept that open for 5.5 minutes, and you can see the results on the screen.
Yeah, 100%.
Okay.
All right.
Okay.
Voting, all right, I'll declare this now. The voting from the full board to make the Equity Committee a standing committee under the Maryland Federation bylaws has been approved by the full board on October the 5th, 2020. So the committee will now become a standing committee. Congratulations to the chairman and the committee members on becoming a standing committee for the Maryland Federation, NARFE. With that in mind, that voting process is done. Well, we done spent enough time on that. I want to move to the next item on our agenda. The Secretary's report.
Okay, I just wanted to stress that the registration forms for meetings do not come to me. I send out the call letter, but the registration forms should go to the registration committee. And that email address is narfmarylandreg2019@gmail.com. You can see on the screen. And also, it's very important that you carefully read the call letter for the board meetings and follow the instructions. And chapter presidents, you should be the ones sending in the registration for your members. So you need to let your members know about the meeting and find out whether they can attend or not, and then register them if they choose to attend the meeting. That's all I have.
Are there any questions on the Secretary's report? Any questions?
I don't have any questions. No hands raised, no questions typed in on that topic.
All right. Moving on, our next report is our Treasurer's report.
Okay, let me get Stuart. All right, Stuart, you should be moving over to the panelist side here. All right. Okay, there you are. And unmute yourself there, Stuart. And also, if you can tilt your camera down, we're only seeing the top of your head. Or yeah, we're only seeing the top of your head there. I don't know how, there you go. Now, Pat sent me the report, and I did the best job I could of getting it all on the screen. But I also dropped this in the documents.
No, you're good with all the important information, Steve. Thank you very much. Good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
This is the financial report as of September 30th, 2020. First column is the amount budgeted, the plan. The second column is the actual amount, the expenditures through September 30th. You'll notice we have income over expenditures of $22,000. But I caution you, this is because, number one, the May mini conference was canceled. The October training conference was canceled. The national conference was postponed until 2022. The Region 2 training session was postponed twice until March of 2021. We are conducting the October board meeting virtually, and therefore we are saving several $1,000s. Next year, 2021, we have 6 meetings scheduled so far. The February board, the legislative conference, the gala, the Region 2 Training Academy, the biennial conference, and the October board meeting. So we could very well, if all of those were held in person, could have a deficit of $20,000 to $25,000. However, we do have $87,000 in our savings account. That will probably be close to $100,000 at the end of the month. And hopefully we can count on basically $40,000 of the remittance, national headquarters membership remittance coming in 2021. But this means that our income is almost 90% coming from NARFE headquarters remittance fund. Now, all of these meetings may not be held in person next year. My guess is with 35 states that have had recurrences, 3 countries that had recurrences, and the excitement at the White House, we might just have some of these early meetings like the February board, the legislative conference, and perhaps the Region 2 training conference virtually, which would not be as much fun because we can't get together personally, but at least we can communicate with each other virtually and save some money. Our current checking account is a little over $6,000. Our current Bank of America savings account is $87,000 and change. With that, I open it to any questions or comments you may have. Thank you very much.
All right. If you have any questions, you can type them in the Q&A box, or you could raise your hand and verbally ask your question.
Ron Chansberry had a question up. I think it was in the chat.
Oh, okay. Let's see. Do you want to read that, Gary? Because
It's not up on my screen.
Oh,
But it was,
okay. Well, let's see. Brigitte Mulliken says, could not see any figures at the end of the report. Yeah, I mean, this report has been, I dropped the report into a folder that I emailed everybody. So my recommendation is not, it's very difficult to read what's on the screen and to look at the actual report in the folder that I sent out. And if you need a copy of that report, Pat or Stuart could email it to you. I think that's the best way to read it. And then, Ron Shansby in chat says, correct line 2 should be plus $100. Boy, Ron's got really good eyes. So that
No,
was,
it should be minus 100 because we exceeded the budgeted amount.
okay.
If you notice, all the other figures in the difference are plus because we still have a balance. The chapter per capita tax, we exceeded the amount budgeted, and therefore that's the way it's calculated.
Okay.
Ron just said it's correct as is.
Okay. Great. All right. And Brigitte said that that's good with getting the report in the folder or getting it emailed to her.
Well, anyone who wants a copy of it, please email me. My email address is in the directory. It's S as in Sam, R as in Robert, Sklamm, SKLAMM at MSN.com. I will be glad to send you a copy of it.
And I just typed that into chat for you there, Stuart.
Thank you, Steve.
My screen went blank.
Okay. Well, here, let me do stop share. How is that better for you,
There
Gary?
you go.
All righty. Okay. All right. So I think we've addressed all the questions related to the that report.
All right.
Thank you all very much.
Next up on our moving on, we will have our audit report. As I promised at our February board meeting that we would conduct an audit and share that report with everyone at our next board meeting. And Charles Garfinkel, our auditor, is here to give us the audit report.
Okay, and I brought Charles over. So he should be coming into the Charles should be coming on here. And so Charles, if you unmute and add your video. There we go.
Okay, host is asked. Okay. All right, you got it?
Yep.
Okay. The audit was a little more difficult this year, basically because the prior treasurer, Dick Strumbotny, was hospitalized, and then we all had to go through the pandemic and the quarantine, and also Dick was in hospice, so it was very difficult to. I communicated with him early, right? In fact, shortly after the February meeting, and we discussed a few things. Basically, he told me that the controls remain the same as what was in prior years. So I knew what those were. What I was not able to do, and if you look at the schedule, there's a footnote that says, footnote 2, it said invoices and bills supporting expenditures were not available for review. I have no idea where those are. I was not able to locate them, so they probably in a box someplace, and Dick, after they packed up Dick. But so based on what Stu provided, I have Dick's computer, and I was able eventually to get into the accounting system. So I had to wait for the guys who took the monitor. I mean, took the tower, but never bothered with the monitor. I was able to borrow a monitor. I still have it. And I was able to download and get the information I needed. So that's what the schedule is. Normally, I don't provide your schedule, but this time I don't think Dick did a report as of December 31, 2019. So I put it in there. What it's showing is we overspent by about $25,000, almost $26,000, and most of that, quite a bit of it, came out of the savings account. So we have to be careful. And the other thing I wanted to show is that it wasn't just one budget item. Dick gave me the impression that it was because of the convention, but it really wasn't. It was a lot of our line items that we overspent on. So in budgeting from future, we're going to be careful on what we do. But overall, there's no recommendations. The report is self-explanatory. We brought in about $55,000, and our expenditures ran 81,000 plus. So that's the difference of 25,000. As I said, most of that came out of the savings account. We can only do that a short time, and then we'll run out of money. But if there's any questions on what's there, please raise it. Otherwise, that's the end of the report. As I said, normally I would have tested the invoices. I've looked to see for approvals, but that wasn't done this year. I'm basing a lot of it on what I ran into the last few years of audits, and we'll catch up with everything this coming year since we have a new treasurer. One thing, I still have Dick's computer. If there's no questions on it, or what I will do is take the hard drive out of it and take the computer to the dump, because it's using XP and nobody uses that anymore. And it's really not worthwhile trying to upgrade it. That's it.
Okay, if anybody has questions for the audit report or for Charles, raise your hand or type it into Q&A. And okay. All right. I'm not getting anything.
That means I did a good job.
Thank you there, Charles, as always. All right. So Charles has given our auditor report. Dick's family had just gave me what they could find when I went to Dick's house. And I gave that, what they gave me to Stu, who in turn gave the hard drive and all that to thing. I don't know what they was able to find all the receipts and stuff like that, but all the prior stuff I had given to Stu, and Stu gave it to Charles.
What I have is old check stubs and old return checks that are 2016.
Yeah, that's what they gave me.
Yeah, Dick must have started to use his own computer for the spreadsheets, because the spreadsheets that are in the NARFE computer stop at 2016. So I have to assume that anything from 2016 on, he was using the spreadsheet from his own computer, and not this tower.
All right.
So what I'll do is take the hard drive out of it, and then the computer is worthless, and just take it. That way, if I keep the hard drive, if for some reason, I tried to tap into the hard drive initially, and I wasn't able to open anything. I could bring things up, but I couldn't open any of the reports. So probably because I don't have QuickBooks on my computer. If I had it on my own computer, then I might have been able to do that. But I'll just keep the hard drive, because that has the information. And as I said, get rid of the rest of it.
Yes. Because I think we had to order new checks because we couldn't get in Dick's system to give the student. So we had the bank charges a very expensive fee to order new checks, somewhere between $300 to $500, because I think our checks were done digitally. That Dick used digital.
I wasn't sure
on
of
the
that.
QuickBooks. Yes.
Well, I know he used QuickBooks, but that was an old system. That's a 1999 system.
Yeah. All right. So before we move on to our speaker, we're going to change the agenda, because our speaker is supposed to come on at 11:30.
Well,
And are there any questions for Charles Garfinkel, our auditor, on the audit report?
Hey, Gary,
Yes.
I just want to double check, because there was some chatter going around on the time that the speaker is coming on. And if somebody else wants to chime in, just to confirm that the speaker's coming on at 11:30 and not 12.
Yeah, thanks, Steve. Gary, so the final agenda that we have shows him coming on at noon.
Coming on when?
At noon, 12 p.m., sir. And so Steve is correct. Behind the scenes, his special assistant was copying Pat, Steve, and I, and we all told her to tell him to come on it. He starts at noon.
All right. Because I have him down.
Can I say something? This is Pat. Yesterday at the executive committee meeting, Ed Holland, you said he was coming on at 11:30, and that's why I changed the agenda.
All right. Well, we can just make the
I'm
adjustment.
sorry, I must have missed that, because I'm working on the agenda. I don't know why I said that. I must have said I had a crazy moment. So sorry.
Okay,
All right.
we're back
We'll
to,
we'll just keep on with the reports. And the audit report is completed. There were no questions on it. We will next have our Region 2 RVP, Kathy Adams, give her report.
Okay, hold on, just bear with me. I'll get Kathy on here. Okay, Kathy, you should be able to come on board. And so Kathy, you should be able to start your video and Kathy?
Yes.
Okay, great.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can. And we can hear you.
Okay. All right. The first thing I want to do is bring you up to date on some of the election results. There was a total of 180,552 ballots sent out, and we got 13,411 back. Region 2, they sent out 29,500 and we only got back 1,978. So there were reminders sent out to vote, and obviously they chose not to. Those that voted, the only interesting one was the national secretary, Cindy Blythe, got a total of 5,038 votes, and Catherine Hensley got 7,661. Are there any questions on the election that I can tell you? Of course, Gary will be taking over soon. I want to go on to Bylaws and Resolutions Committee. They did a great job this year. The parliamentarian also participated in this committee's assisting the committee on its work. One point I want to bring up, many people are talking about the national dues. With the increase of $40 to $48, everything passed, and the NEB has to consider the impact of this dues increase. Last time we had a dues increase, we lost many members. The last dues increase resulted in the membership loss of about 5% over the past year. The NEB should consider developing new national membership strategies to offset the anticipated loss in the membership and the resultant loss in revenue. The policy should also include Federation participation in executing the strategy, because many have substantial reserve funds that could especially be crucial because of the continued 10% funding to federations. Any questions on that? Okay, Alzheimer's. I heard from Lou Katz for Region 2. They called and said we did not make our goals this year because chapters are not meeting, and therefore they're going to extend it to the deadline for about 6 months, and hopefully we'll make our deadline then. Save the dates. Don't forget the NARFE annual meeting will be virtually on October 28th from 2 to 5 p.m. Via GoTo, and it's on the NARFE newsline for November 9th through December 14th. So look that up and register. The other thing, Don't forget the gala for the centennial will be June 21, and that will take place at the Hyatt Regency on Capitol Hill in Washington. Any other questions on the elections or the bylaws that I can answer?
All right, so let's see. Yeah, we've got Charles Garfinkel is raising his hand. Charles.
Yeah, I want, when the bios came out on the two secretary that were running, we got one, and then so I was waiting for a second. The second one, by the time it showed up, I already voted. And if they're going to come out, they should come out pretty close together. Otherwise, people vote early. And
I
they miss it.
certainly agree with you. I will bring that up to them.
Thank you.
Thanks, Charles.
Any more questions for our Region 2 Vice President Kathy Adams?
It's been a pleasure working with all of you, and I want to congratulate Gary, and I know he'll do a great job for us. Thank you, Gary.
Thank you, Kathy. All right. Any questions? Please ask them now.
Whoops. Okay. Yeah, don't see any coming through, and it's good because I just put Kathy back in the, oh, shoot. We got Sarah Richards asking a question, and I'll bring Kathy back too. Sarah?
Hi, just wanted to ask about the funds in reserve. You mentioned that. Are you talking about national has funds in reserve? Are you talking about federations? Are you talking about chapters? Where are the funds in reserve?
Okay, I brought Kathy Adams back on. Sorry about that.
It's my fault. I should have done this earlier.
Okay. Kathy, if you unmute, you can answer Sarah's question. Kathy? Shoot. Kathy, just click that unmute button. That you should be prompted to unmute yourself. There you go.
Okay. Is she talking about the membership funds?
Sarah?
Sarah?
Yeah, I'm not sure. You mentioned that we had funds on reserve to help out with things, and I don't really know what you meant. I know National has issues with funds, and so I'm wondering, where are the reserve funds and how are they going to be used?
What I meant was the increase in the national dues. Mm-hmm. Is that what you're talking about? Or are you talking about the Alzheimer's funds?
No, the dues.
The dues. The increase, well, they're expecting about a 5% decrease in membership. So there are no funds in reserve. We're just waiting to see what happens when the dues does increase in 2021. And we're expecting to lose membership. We're having problems with couples, for example. They don't want to pay 2 dues. So usually a spouse will drop out. So that's what we're afraid of. So we're waiting to hear what the membership numbers are. But there are no reserve funds.
I didn't think there was at National. I was just worried that National might be looking to the Federation and chapters to bring forth any reserves they might have.
No, I'd like to protect that 10% fund because people need that.
Oh, for sure. For sure. Okay, great. Thank you so much for clearing that up. That helps a lot.
Okay, thank you.
All right.
Any other questions for Kathy?
No, and yeah, going once and twice. So Is it okay for me to put Kathy back into the audience?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Thanks, Kathy. All right. So
Next on our agenda, we will have Pat Farmer, our Maryland Federation Secretary, fill in and give the Alzheimer's report and the scholarship report from Miss Eleanor Kaul, who's not able to participate today.
All
And
right.
Pat has like a slideshow to begin the presentation with.
Got it.
Okay, I'm doing the Alzheimer's report for Eleanor Kaul. As you can see on the screen, the Alzheimer's stamp is on sale today, October 5th, at your post office. So when you go to buy stamps next time, buy Alzheimer's stamps. And as of September 30th, 2020, contributions totaled $518. I apologize for any background noise. I'm having some landscaping work done outside and it's a little noisy, so I apologize. So the total contributions were $518. $50 from the Ocean Area Chapter 2274 and $468 from Western Charles Indian Head Chapter 126. And $355 of that was in memory of Jeanette Green, who was our Federation Secretary in the past. Hopefully more contributions will be made when chapters can meet again in person. And chapter transfer form for Alzheimer's donations was sent electronically to attendees. And that was part of the Alzheimer's report that Steve put in to the download link. Okay, that's it for Alzheimer's. Okay, for scholarship, Leah Stein won the 2020-2021 Region 2 scholarship. Her sponsor and father, Michael Stein, is a national member from Maryland. Leah is going to attend Hertford College at Oxford University in England. The Maryland Federation has had 12 scholarship winners since 2013. And contributions to the scholarship fund, you can see on the screen where the checks can be payable to. And also I always have, or Eleanor always has this in the newsletter. And scholarship information at scholarship@narfe.org. And for any emergency hardship loans, you can go to fia.org/emergency, or to donate, you can go to fia.org. So this hardship loans has to do with any people that are, caught up in the fires out on the West Coast or hurricanes, any kind of hardship that they might need a loan for. So that's the scholarship report.
Great. So any questions related to Alzheimer's or scholarship? If you want to raise your hand or type them into Q&A. And let's see, we've got who's raising their hand here? Frank Lee is raising his hand. Frank? You can unmute yourself, Frank.
Okay, can you hear me?
Yep.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, I'd just like to make a comment on the Alzheimer's Fund. Since we're not having in-person meetings at the chapter level at this point, what we decided to do in chapter 1747 is that we're taking up a solicitation for the Alzheimer's Fund through our newsletter, and we're asking our members to send a donation to our post office box in support of the fund, and we hope that many people will give us a donation that way.
Okay.
Steve, this is Larry Walton. There's a quick question in the Q&A for Kathy Adams.
Oh, okay. Louise Cole, yeah, did NARFE national officers take a cut in salary? So that's back to a previous topic. Thanks for your comment, Frank. Thanks for sharing that. And then let me go get Kathy on board again to let us know if NARFE national officers.
I can answer that, Steve. No need to go back to Kathy.
Okay.
Yes, NARFE national officers RVP salaries will be cut by 50% starting in January 2022.
Okay. Thanks for that, Gary. And Kathy, just ignore my request to have you speak. So any additional comments for Alzheimer's report or scholarship report? Raise your hand or type them in. And then I guess we are going to be doing next the vendors report. So I'm going to get Doug Fischer on deck. All right. So, and while I did that, so Doug, I was bringing you on board, but it looks like another hand went up. Linda Sims. Linda, you have a question?
On the scholarship.
Yes. Hi, good morning. I just had a question about the scholarship. I actually typed it in, but I don't know if you saw it. It was just about the eligibility requirements for scholarship. Is it need-based? Is there an essay? Is there more details on that? Do you have to be a member? Does your child, et cetera, have to be a member of NARFE in order to apply? What is it?
I can speak to that. Am I unmuted? I think I am. Can you hear?
Yes, you are. You are, Pat. We can hear you.
Okay. It has to be the child of a member or the grandchild of a member. So they have to have a sponsor that is a member of NARFE. And you can go to that scholarship, let's see, scholarship at narfe.org. And that should give you all the information you need about the requirements. I worked on the scholarship committee for a while, and I know they had to do an essay, and they have to have some recommendations from teachers and things like that. And they have to have a certain grade average. So that can give you all the information you need at scholarship at narfe.org. Thank you, Linda.
All right, thanks. All right, okay, so if we don't have any more Alzheimer's or scholarship questions, I guess we can transition to Doug Fischer with the vendors report. Is that okay, Gary?
Yes.
Okay.
Hello, my name's Doug Fischer. I'm the vendor chairman. As we heard earlier this morning, we had 5 vendors who participated in our call here. We had Susan Allgood of Aetna. We had Charlie Griffin of FedPoint USA Benefits. We had Jenny Pearson of Maryland Relay. We had Ann Healy of Care First Blue Cross Blue Shield. And we had Dana Tisdale of United Healthcare. And I want to personally thank these vendors for participating in our call. And I also thank them and all of our vendors for the important services that they provide to us and to our family members. Again, thank you all for participating. And I have That's it.
Okay.
Steve, were we
Yeah.
able to post their logos on our virtual link
Yes, the logos did appear on them.
with their contact information?
Yeah,
Yes.
I'm
The
scrolling
vendors,
back.
all 5 of them.
I provided them to Steve and he has them on the screen now.
Yeah, so
Mhm.
we got Fed Point, Aetna, Maryland Relay, United Healthcare, and Care First. And I believe all of their representatives, they were at the conference, and they may still be in the audience. And if they can put their contact info into chat, that would be great. And
Yes. Open season is when, Pat?
It's in my notes of November 9th to the 21st of December.
I think it's the 9th of December, but I could be mistaken.
I have to go back. I thought it was 9 November till 14, maybe 14 December. I don't know. I'll look it up and get back.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Susan
I'll go-
Allgood actually put in chat, open season is November 9th to December 14th.
Okay.
All
Close.
right.
I was close.
That's not far away. So it's good that our members can see their contact information to Ann Haley, Blue Cross Blue Shield, and Agner, and all those.
Yeah.
They also put it in the chat. They put their contact information this morning in chat.
Congressman Jamie Raskins normally does his healthcare forum around November. I believe he might be doing it by virtual this time, because NARFE has always participated in Congressman Jamie Raskins' open healthcare forum.
I normally get an email contact from his assistant about it. I haven't seen anything yet.
All right, so it's probably not going to take place this year.
Or it might be virtual.
It might be virtual. All right, so are there any questions for Doug before we move on with our vendors? Doug has done an outstanding job with getting vendors since he's taken over from Eleanor Kaul.
Let's see. Sarah Richards has a question. She raised her hand.
Not a question, just an announcement. Our chapter is having a health forum as well on November 17th at 1 o'clock. And we've got Blue Cross, oh gosh, I've forgotten. We've got 4 different insurance agents. I know Susan Allgood's going to be there. And just to let folks know that there are some alternatives. I'm not quite sure how to let people know that we're doing this online, but I'll deal with that later. Just wanted to let you know.
Okay.
All right.
Sarah, if you need any contact information for any of our vendors, just let me know.
Okay. She may have already dropped off, but she'll email you. Okay.
Thank you.
All right. So
we have about 5 minutes before 12, before our speaker. We might be able to squeeze in one more report, and then Ed Holland can introduce us our luncheon speaker.
Okay.
We have the ECC report. Is Linda Adams online?
Yeah, I just asked her to unmute. Linda, oh wait, whoops, I did the wrong Adams. I did Kathleen Adams. Okay, sorry guys. Again, Linda. Ooh, I don't have Linda. If Linda Adams is in the audience, can she raise her hand? If she's going by another name?
No, she's probably not on.
No, I don't think she was on. I don't think she was on in the original roll call.
Okay. So, let's see, do you, Gary, I've got the next thing on the agenda is the voting.
We're gonna put that off and bring our speaker on.
Okay,
Let's do, because he's due to speak at 12.
okay, so let me see if Pete is in the audience, can he raise his hand? Or actually, I'm wondering, Ed is, oh, there he is. Okay, here, I'm gonna rename you here, Pete. I can do that real quick. And this is Pete Landon. Okay, so that's less confusing. And all right, so Ed, do you want to introduce Pete, I'm assuming?
Yeah, thanks, Steve. I keep hitting the wrong button. There we go. Walter F. Pete Landon. So welcome, Mr. Landon. Walter F. Pete Landon was appointed as the director of the Maryland Governor's Office of Homeland Security in June 2015. Pete serves as Governor Hogan's Homeland Security Advisor. He is also an ex officio member of the Governor's Emergency Management Council, member of the Maryland Criminal Justice Information Advisory Board, Maryland Cybersecurity Council, Maryland Integrated Map Executive Committee, Council on Open Data, and the statewide Interoperability Radio Control Board. I mean, I can go on and on. So if anyone wants me to share this, I'll be happy to share this with you and along with Eric Hirschhorn. Pete was also given an additional assignment as Deputy Chief of Staff for Governor Larry Hogan in September 2017. As a member of the Governor's senior leadership team, his added responsibilities include oversight of the public safety portfolio that includes the Maryland Department of Public Safety, Correctional Services, Maryland Emergency Management Agency, Maryland Military Department, which is the National Guard, Maryland State Police, OIPOD Operation Command Center, Maryland Center for School Safety, and the Governor's Office of Crime Control and Prevention. Prior to being assigned as the Governor's Homeland Security Advisor, Pete served almost 30 years in the Maryland State Police, retired as a Lieutenant Colonel. June 1st, 2015. He was born in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, and attended Beaconfield High School, Beaconfield, Quebec, Canada. Good day, mate. Referring to the USP, graduated from Chesapeake College with an AA in law enforcement and Towson University with a BS. Ladies and gentlemen, I welcome Deputy Chief of Staff and the Director of Maryland Homeland Security, Pete Landon. Welcome, sir.
Morning. Thank you, Ed. I couldn't have said that any better if I had written it myself. Thanks, Ed. It's my pleasure to be here with all of you today, albeit virtual. On behalf of Governor Hogan, Lieutenant Governor Rutherford, and the citizens of the great state of Maryland, I want to say welcome to the 2020, and I'm glad I heard you saying NARFE, so I don't have to read out the whole title, but the NARFE Maryland Federation Mini Conference. I also want to thank Ed Holland, who invited me to speak with you all today, and congratulate the new board members who were just sworn in earlier today. Again, congratulations to you all. Governor Hogan and Lieutenant Governor Rutherford understand that Maryland's federal workers are critical not only to our nation, but to our state, whether active or retired. Many of you live here, contribute to our communities and economy. We support you and we're very grateful for you. As Ed said, I have a whole bunch of jobs after my name, but the biggest thing that you need to know when dealing with public safety is the importance of the state agencies who rely on each other. And when we can't do what we need to, we have to have our federal partners come in and help us out. I have to tell you, the importance of our state and federal governments, the collaboration and coordination proves invaluable every day. I learned this as a state trooper when I started my career 30 years ago. And even during my tenure as a trooper and retiring as Lieutenant Colonel, I knew that our work was dependent not only on teamwork with ourselves, but collaboration with our federal partners. Remember, first and foremost, Maryland is right next to the nation's capital, where defense and homeland security spending decisions are made. our regional approach to Homeland Security has given us the ability to have an advantage with the relationship with our federal partners that a lot of other states don't get to have. Again, being neighbors with our nation's capital is truly unique. Like our federal partners, Maryland is a high-tech state with an emphasis on defense. Right in Maryland, we have the U.S. Cyber Command, the National Security Agency, the United States Naval Academy, Patuxent River Naval Air Station, U.S. Army's Aberdeen Proving Ground, and Fort Detrick, which is a center of military medicine. And you have to also, the crown jewel, Joint Base Andrews, home of Air Force One, our president's plane, as well as Marine One, the helicopter. There's also undoubtedly a huge defense-related industry and market in Maryland. Unfortunately, both Maryland and the United States are keenly aware of our Homeland Security threats. And again, being next to the nation's capital, Maryland has to always be prepared to respond. I can tell you the importance of our state and federal government partnerships and coordination, again, proves valuable. Take our Fusion Center, the Maryland Coordination and Analysis Center. It was actually the first one in the country, one of more than 70 that exist today. But less than an hour away from the nation's capital, our MCAC coordinates the efforts of the federal, state, and local agencies to gather, analyze, and share intelligence and information. And not only does law enforcement use it, public health and emergency responders use it as well. Again, the MCAC, like all the other fusion centers, were born out of the need for interoperability and communications since the tragic events of 9/11. If we take a look at 2020 alone, the majority of our year has been spent working with our federal partners on health initiatives, emergency management, labor, and Homeland Security issues to prepare, respond, and recover from the COVID-19 pandemic. And I think we're all keenly aware that we're still right in the middle of that. So we're not exactly recovering from. Again, I think we know that we have to keep with the minimization of resources available, our partnership and communications available across the board. Again, I want to offer myself as Maryland's contact for anything that you might need to get in the door, and know that you have our continued support and dedication. And again, on behalf of Governor Larry Hogan and Lieutenant Governor Boyd Rutherford, we're grateful for your efforts, and I remain hopeful, if not confident, that all of our efforts will lead to future partnerships making Maryland a safer place to live and work. Again, I'd like to just take this time right now to thank you for having me on your mini conference, and I'm happy to answer any questions that you might have. I don't see any names that I recognize from giving out tickets as a Maryland State Trooper, so I think we're okay from that aspect. But does anybody have any questions I might have of me and or Governor Hogan? If I know the answer, I'll give it to you. If I don't, I'll either lie or I'll get back to you with an accurate answer.
Let's see, we've got a hand raised and it looks like it is Frank Lee. Frank? Frank? All right.
What steps are being taken to safeguard our voting facilities during the coming election?
And I'm assuming that was you, Mr. Lee. Thanks for that question. It's a great one. You need to understand that in Maryland, the Maryland State Board of Elections oversees the elections, and it's done from their aspect. They are not a part of the executive branch. But I can tell you my job as Homeland Security Advisor is to make sure that the Maryland State Board of Elections, as well as all of our law enforcement partners, whether across the state or even local, are aware of some of the issues that might be going on. One of the things that we're careful not to do is have a lot of uniformed police officers at or around voting locations. They might ride through, be in the area, But essentially, I don't want to see a uniform keeping anybody from voting. Our job is to make sure we give everybody the opportunity. So a lot of what you see from public safety or from law enforcement is done from behind the scenes more. I know in Anne Arundel County, for example, that they're using a lot of cameras just for security. We don't want a police car sitting in front of a voting station that might tend to keep people from feeling comfortable about voting.
Great.
I hope that answers it.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thanks, Frank. And then I've got Paul Schwartz, who is got his hand raised. Paul?
Yes, thank you. As the head of Homeland Security and Emergency Management, I assume you deal a lot with FEMA. My question is, what is your reaction to the Stafford Act and the Disaster Relief Fund being used by the federal government to supplement the unemployment insurance that was necessitated by the pandemic?
Wow, Paul, thank you. That's a pretty formidable fiscal question to ask a state trooper. I can tell you that we've kind of all, rather than follow precedents with COVID-19 and the answer to the pandemic, we've had to think outside the box, looking to get the most relief that we can as quickly as possible. I think that you could have a bunch of lawyers, academians, emergency managers, fiscal managers in a room and debate the merits of the Stafford Act and the use of it. I think it's an inventive way to try and get the states and local government the support and resources that they need. And I think that what we are doing is not only, we're setting precedents, but we're trying to do so constantly and consistently revising the way we do things. We see decisions from whether it's FEMA, from whether it's CDC, from whether it's HHS, or in Maryland, we have that's called MEMA, or our Department of Human Services, or even our Department of Health. We've constantly had to change the way that we're going after trying to address this pandemic and do it as quickly as possible, covering and protecting as many Americans, and in our case, Marylanders, as possible.
Thank you.
Great, thank you, Paul. All right, let's see. Any additional questions? Feel free to raise your hand or type them in. And other than that,
well, Steve, I did type it in. I guess you haven't seen mine. So once again, Mr. Lamb, thank you for speaking. I was curious to know, how do you handle the different bureaus coming through you? Do they report to you then to the lieutenant governor, the governor? Like, you have the colonel now with state police, you have correctional service director. Do those folks report to you first and then they go up? Is that the chain of command?
I'll tell you, and thanks, Ed, it's kind of a more of a business approach than bureaucratic. While I'm the deputy chief of staff, I take care of the day-to-day, I won't say monotony, but the routine issues. One thing that the cabinet, all our cabinet members have, is direct access to the governor and or lieutenant governor. And that's vice versa too. I'm not here to be an obstructionist. I'm just a liaison, kind of like I am to my partners, the FBI and Marshal Service and Secret Service. I'm kind of like a liaison. I get them what I can as quick as I can, and I can ramp up the importance of needing to take care of a job. And again, it's not to be an obstructionist. It's kind of try and organize an approach and give advice to the governor and or lieutenant governor is how to most efficiently and effectively take care of a situation or a problem. Thanks.
Thank you.
great. Well, that looks like it. Oh, hey.
I have a question. This is Pat Farmer. Mr. Landon, how are the emails from a citizen to the governor handled?
That's an interesting question, Pat. Thank you for that. We actually have an Office of Constituent Services, and the emails actually come into the State House. They are reviewed by constituent services, and they, I hate to say shotgun them, that doesn't sound right, but they send them to the, usually the deputy chiefs of staff and or the departments that the question would be appropriate for. So say if it's something involving the Maryland State Police, the superintendent of the Maryland State Police, and I at the same time, and my policy advisor, Yesham Karaman, get the email, and we decide the best way, the quickest way to not only figure out what the issue is it something that can be, that we can help with, that Governor Hogan can help with. A lot of times, a lot of emails and questions and dilemmas are more a local or municipal issue that the governor doesn't directly oversee, but luckily the relationships that I have with, say, in the police world, the Maryland chiefs and sheriffs throughout the state, or any of our federal counterparts, I can usually get an answer or work towards answering what the issue is, as long as it's appropriate and legal to do so.
Okay, I'd like to respond. I sent an email to the governor back in March, and it had to do with him as the chair of the governors across the state. And the response that I got back was from the health department head. And it was just a litany of what the governor was doing for the pandemic, which I already knew and supported. And I was very disappointed. I went back to her and said that, she really needed to reread what I asked and to see if it couldn't be brought before the governor, because I thought it was very critical at the time. So I've been very disappointed in that whole situation about not being able to get my point through to the governor.
Well, Pat, I'm sorry to hear that, number one, but number two, if you email me, or I'll have Yesham, who I know is probably on this call, we'll look for your email across the board and see if there's something that I can help with, even though it doesn't sound like it would be a question that falls under the public safety realm. I have no problem helping you out as well as I can. And I'm kind of embarrassed that you're that disappointed, because we go at great length, especially anything dealing with public safety, to try and at least explain how we can help, whether we can help, or if it's something outside of our purview. But I promise you that I'll take a look at it and get back to it. And if you ever have anything, anybody on this call, I don't know whether you're going to put up my contact information or not, but I can be reached at all lowercase walter.landon, Landon, at maryland.gov. And I jokingly said that I would get an answer for you, or I would make one up. In all honesty, I won't do either, but I will get back to you and figure out not only what you were asking, but I always like to look at the response that was given to that disappointed you, because that's something that we've, at least in my portfolio and in the governor's and lieutenant governor's eyes, try and keep away from. So again, accept my apology and also accept my sincere intent to help you if I can.
Okay, thank you very much.
And thanks, Pat. And then Stuart Sklamm has his hand raised. Stuart?
Mr. Landon, one of the presidential candidates has stated that they're going to send poll watchers to the poll stations on November 3rd. In case there are some problems at the polling stations, what is the plan for taking care of any negative actions that may be taking place? Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Sklamm. One thing that Ed didn't mention in my very long past history, I actually was a member of a local board of elections on Maryland's Eastern Shore. Poll watchers are nothing new, from regardless of whether you're affiliated or not with a political party or not. They're not going to be able to disrupt an election. There are places where the poll watchers can safely watch what's going on. They can interact with voters. They can only kind of say watch and advise. If there's any negative interaction or anything that pushes the boundaries of what is acceptable or legal, the local board of elections and the local election judges will handle it. If it's something that they can't handle, then the state board of elections administrator, Linda Lamone, would get involved. I can tell you that there's a pretty good relationship between the state board of elections, the local board of elections, and law enforcement in general. Again, the fine line that I was talking about, Mr. Sklamm, is whether you want a uniformed police officer intervening when it's not really proper or necessary to do so. Poll watchers have been around since elections have started, and as long as they do so without interfering or interacting or even trying to influence people's voting practices, there's no reason why they shouldn't be allowed to do so.
All right, and it looks like I think we've addressed a lot of questions. Great thought-provoking presentation.
Yep. All right. Any more questions?
Yep, looks like we're good.
Okay. Well, again, on behalf of Governor Hogan and Lieutenant Governor Rutherford, I want to thank you. And Pat, if you're still on here, please let me know that I'll look into the shortcoming that you had and try and address it at my level. Again, Ed, thank you very much. Steve, thanks for your mediation. And I wish everybody a very wonderful day. And I hope the rest of your conference is as beneficial and fruitful as it has been so far. Thanks again.
And again, Mr. Landon, on behalf of Dr. Roundtree, thank you, sir, for taking time out of your busy schedule, and stay safe.
Thanks. You too.
Thank you. All right. Steve?
Yep.
All right. I think we supposed to have had a break for lunch. Do the members want to break for lunch or continue on?
All right.
Let me unmute. Did I unmute? Yes.
Just show your there you go. Yeah. Okay.
Would our members like to break for lunch or continue on?
Let's see. I'm trying to think. Oh, let me do just let me see if I can add we can do a poll on that. Let me do it really quick. So what do you say? Break for lunch for 15 minutes or what? What do you think?
20 minutes.
20 minutes for 20 minutes. Okay, just give me 2 seconds. I'll get it up here. We'll get the answer. And then, okay, so now I'm gonna go here. Okay, all right, we'll take a quick vote on breaking for lunch and see where things land. Wow, this is interesting. It's a battle. Okay, here I'll go a little bit more. We got 60% of people have voted. Want to make sure that this is a fair election because somebody might be watching our poll here. Okay, looks like we got about 60%, and this is the winner. That we're going to take a 20-minute break for lunch. So
the time now is 12:19. See everybody back at 12:40.
Okay, so till 12:40. Okay.
Which should put us around wrapping up about 1:30.
Okay. All right. That works. And it still puts us ahead of schedule on our agenda, which is
Yes.
nice. Okay, so we'll see. Let's see. Sarah Richards has a question. Will voting on the vice president still occur during this break?
No, it won't occur during this break.
Okay, we'll do that when we return.
When we return.
Okay. All right. And let's see. Frank Lee has got his hand raised. Let me just make sure. Frank, did you have a question before we break? Frank? You had your hand raised? Maybe not?
No, I was just voting on the lunch break.
Oh, okay. Yeah, we're going to do it after the lunch break, according to Gary.
Fine.
Oh, I'm not sure.
Maybe some of the people just want to get something to eat. Decide to sit down with the computer, they're gonna have to get up and go eat. Because I think we need to explain the process of how we came to the articles for the Maryland Federation on filling the vacancy. And if you on break, that will not be explained. So, we want to be transparent as possible.
All right. Is that okay? Well, Frank, yeah, I think at this point you probably lost a bunch of people, so we kind of have to wait till we come back. So, all right. All right. So we'll see everybody at 12:40. And Brigitte asked, do I need to sign in again? No, you could just stay on. Nobody can see you. But if for some reason you did want to sign out, you can just sign back in with the same link that you signed in during the morning. So using the same link. Okay. All right. So I agree. I need to go get something to eat there, Gary. So we will see you guys back at 12:40.
All right.
All right.